Hey, everybody, welcome back to Spiders Sound Off. This is Tom.
And this is Porter.
And we are back for another episode this weekend. This will post on Monday, but it wasn't a weekend of 2 wins, Porter.
It was not. But I had a win. I had a win last night at Fleming's Steakhouse. The 11-ounce filet was to die for.
Did you see one of our listeners posted to, I think it might have been on Facebook, and said, like, hey, they have hot dogs at the Robin Center.
I actually told my wife
Win-win.
that. I said, hey, one of our listeners suggested I treat you to hot dogs at the Robin Center. I did not get a positive response out of that.
Yeah.
So I'll just point that out.
I bet.
But let's talk about the women for a second, man. They went to Davidson after a very close triple overtime game up here. And, again, really tight first half. We've been seeing that lately. But in the second half, absolutely blew the cover off of Davidson for a dominant performance. Maggie hit 2,000 points. Congratulations.
Yep. No
That's
trip
awesome.
to George Mason for you and me to
No trip to George
see
Mason
that.
to see it. But if you're living in the Fairfax area, make sure you get out and support them today, because this episode will release on Monday. And, yeah, they're 39 in the net. They're right where they need to be in the conversation for net large. So congrats to the ladies. Davidson was without, I think, Katie Donovan, who's their best three-point shooter.
Yep.
And we had Newell, which we didn't have in the first game. But it was a very encouraging game. To beat Davidson by 23 on their home court and hold them to a season-low total in points was absolutely outstanding.
And the coach has been saying this for a couple press conferences now when they've talked about this tough schedule we got, as we've got George Mason on Monday, and then we're at George Washington on Wednesday, and he'll get the question of, like, how do you prepare for all those games? And part of his response is, like, they have to prepare for us. I mean,
Yeah.
George Mason had a game this weekend, and now they have to play again on Monday. Now they're home, so they have that advantage. But they still got to prepare for us. It's not just, on us to figure this stuff out. Let's talk about VCU. So we did lose to VCU at home, as most of you probably all know by now. And like our game at the Siegel Center, we had a really tough start, got further and further behind, then mounted a big comeback, but never could get to that.
Furious comeback.
Could never get to the lead, could never tie them up, ended up down the whole game. And then in the last few minutes, ran out of steam, it seemed. So we've lost 4 in a row now to VCU. We're 2-8 in our last 10.
Not great.
No.
Not great. But yeah, I mean, I give them credit for the comeback. I looked on my phone real quickly during dinner. We were down 20 at half. I'm like, oh, that's going to be a disaster. But got home. We were down 4. I came in, turned it on right at the time that Beagle got the second flagrant two games.
Yep.
Which I didn't really have any context into, but I just saw kind of us, not overcome the hump there towards the end.
Yeah, I wonder too that moment as watching it is that it didn't seem like a flagrant, but then him and someone on the other team started jawing at each other. It resulted in the double technicals, and then it was like, now we're going to the screen. It's one of those, I wonder if he had that hard foul, but then walked away, and there was none of that, chest bumping sort of stuff where the ref even thought of, like, hey, I got to go look at this again. It seemed like a foul just in the course of the game, but when you look at it in video, you can see he hits him pretty hard.
I wonder if it's not in the coach's scouting report against us now that Beagle, if you push him in certain ways, you can push him too far. So we got to keep an eye out on that, because two flagrants in 2 games. First one I understood, but we were up huge. This one too close of a game to get in that situation.
Okay, so with that VCU loss, and with us getting swept by them this year, I think we decided we need some Spiders therapy.
Therapy is good.
It's kind of a therapy session. And so we are going to bring a guest to help us. So after this little
Legendary
intro,
guest.
Legendary guest. This guest went 2-1 against VCU at home. And some of that was VCU wasn't always in the Atlantic 10, so we didn't always play them 2 times a year. He beat them once at the Siegel Center, and we've only beaten them twice in the Siegel Center over our history. And one of the only 2 times that we went 2-0 in the regular season against VCU. And just one more footnote before we introduce the new guest. All 3 times he beat VCU, they were a top 25 team.
Wow.
So top 25 in the country. Those days seem to be in the past for VCU. So this was arguably kind of the best VCU teams that we've ever faced, 3 times top 25. So we're going to learn about this player. We'll learn about his career. And maybe he'll just cheer us up a bit. We could use that.
Cheer is good.
Hey, Spider fans. Today we have a treat. Our guest is one of the most electric players in Richmond Spiders history, Kendall Anthony. It's just some stats if you didn't know it. He's second all time in 3-pointers. He was first when Kendall when you left, but I guess Gilliard came and beat you on that. I think you're 6th all time in scoring, and from my memory, one of the biggest shot makers ever. A lot of clutch shots during your time. So, Kendall, welcome to Spiders Sound Off.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Kendall. We were talking right before we started recording, and Kendall's looks exactly the same, except for he's got kind of a nice little bit of facial hair there, which probably is not slowing him down, because I remember him as being about one of the fastest spiders I've ever seen on the court.
That's right.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today. It's as we kind of mentioned, it's a little bit of a therapy day. We lost to VCU last night in the Robins Center, so we're happy to have you on because you've got that reputation and that history of being one of the VCU killers for us. Before we get started and all that, though, tell us a little bit about what brought you to Richmond originally. Tell us about your recruiting story. Who else was after you, and why did you choose Richmond?
It's funny. So I played AAU basketball during my high school years in the summers. And when I played in Vegas, I had a pretty good showing. I think I did really well in that tournament. And my coach, my AU coach, Coach Wadi, he called me and told me that Richmond was interested in me. And I never heard of Richmond, honestly. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I got recruited a little bit coming out of that. I had a lot of mid majors, but not many offers. So I wasn't very sought after as far as like high major or even, like I said, mid major. I had a lot of interest but not a lot of offers. And Richmond called me, Coach McGinn. They called me and told me they wanted me to come up for a visit. Then I got on the phone with Coach Mooney, and he told me he was very excited to have me for the visit. So a couple weeks later, I ended up going there to visit, and I loved it. I fell in love with it, everything. The team, the coaches, it was just a great atmosphere. I loved the campus. It just drew me in. So I ended up committing on my visit, which was a lot of people were very happy about that. Like I said, Coach Mooney was happy. He didn't even expect me to do that. I came in and told me, I was like, I want to commit. I told my mother, she was with me. She was like, if you want to do this, go ahead. Don't hesitate. And I knew, for some reason, I just knew Richmond was the right place for me. But like awesome. I said, coming in, I wasn't heavily recruited. I had a couple mid majors, maybe about 4 or 5 that were heavy on me, but not really offering. And then also I had like a couple from high major, just like a little interest, but nothing that was coming through in stone. So Richmond was kind of the college that gave me an opportunity. I'm forever grateful for that.
Now, when you came, I'm curious, when you were visiting and kind of watched the team or got to practice with the team, that was Kevin Anderson was our point guard then.
Yeah,
and I can imagine, at least, but I'd love to hear the story of like watching him or playing with him and being like, hey, like I could see myself in those shoes. And he was graduating, obviously, before you got there. So how much did that help, kind of seeing a successful guard like Kevin Anderson kind of on the team before you had to choose where to go?
Yeah, Kevin Anderson is like, when I first got there, I heard so much about him before I even got there. They were telling me like, hey, we have this guard here. He's All-American. He's great. He's small, just like you. And I'm like, okay, let me actually see for myself. And when I got to actually see him in person play, I was like, yeah, if this is what they produce here, I probably need to come here. But actually meeting K is a totally different story. He's an amazing person. Like it's actually funny. I just saw him this past summer. I actually live in Atlanta now with my wife, and he is actually in Atlanta right now. So I got to be around him, talk to him, hang out with him. But like I said, I met him on the visit, and like I said, he was amazing. Like he was a good person. He helped me a lot, just talking to me, just telling me if I come here, what to expect. So he's been very influential in my life. Like actually seeing him play, how he played, I was like, I think I could actually mold my game after him. And come to find out that we were 2 great scoring guards that were able to do a lot of great things at the University of Richmond.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome.
Like one thing when I think about you, kind of watching you played in the Robins Center, like one thing I think maybe that you had that Kevin didn't have is, I'll call it swagger. Like how How did you develop that? Were you kind of like that in high school? Like it was just so fun to watch you. You'd make shots and like it was just like it's hard to define what swagger
Yeah,
means, but it
yeah,
looked like you were having fun out there. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. No, basketball is something that I find great joy in. Brings me peace. And you can kind of be yourself. I think K had a little swag. I think he has some swag, but
Yeah.
maybe for me it's just fun. It's just fun to be out there. It's just an opportunity. It's a blessing just to be out there. So I think during my time there, what really got me going was the crowd. Like the Robins Center when it got packed and people come out to show you, cheer you on, and they're yelling your name and they're happy when you make threes. It kind of motivates you to actually go out there and have a little fun and be a little loose. So for me, just having the opportunity, and like I said, basketball is something that you have to find enjoyment in if you really want to be good at it. So that's where I think the swag came from. I think also in high school, I was able to have that type of fun, especially because we were a winning program as well.
That's awesome. You were, I think of you as kind of a creative shot maker. You were at a great creativity. Who did you model your style after when you were growing up?
Oh, I was an Allen Iverson fan for sure. That was the guy for me. Like if I had to pick one GOAT for me, that was Allen Iverson.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to Allen Iverson here in a minute. So keep that in mind, Spider fans, when we get to the what have you been up to lately section.
Okay, as part of our therapy for the Spider fans who just saw us lose to VCU, I'd love to go back to kind of, for me, one of the most memorable games ever was that 2013 game against VCU, your sophomore year. First, kind of tell us about that team. Kind of that was your second year at U of R. Kind of what was that team like for you? Kind of what was your role, and kind of who are the folks that kind of you really relied on as part of the success of that team?
Oh man, I got so many. Honestly, a whole team. It's crazy because like we were very close. You have Cedric Lindsey, my backcourt mate. That was like the guy. For me, he was someone that motivated me to play on a higher level because of just for his play. Darian Brothers, he was a shot maker. Like if you wanted a shot to be made, a 3-pointer, DB was the guy that made us go, especially when he got to go and he got hot. But you have Trey, you have Alonzo. I can keep going down the line. Like these guys are people you wanted to play with. So that team, I wasn't surprised we were able to do that, be able to come back because we were so close. Like I said, we were so close coming in. You had great guys like Wayne. You had great guys like, man, even to the walk-ons. You had Zach Chu, who's coaching at Radford now. Like it's just that type of team is a team that you want to go to war with, and I think that's what pushed us over that hump during a time where probably people didn't think it was possible to come back from 7 down with like 30-something seconds left. Like
before we get into that, I want to relive that a bit, but just to remind Spider fans, like that VCU team had 3 players that played in the pros. They had Trevion Graham, Troy Daniels, Briante Weber. This was the Shaka Smart, maybe his best team ever. They were top 25. I think they might have been 16 on the AP or something like that when they came here. So this was, VCU at its best, coming to the Robins Center. And like you said, down 7 with 20 plus seconds left. Replay that story for us, kind of how we took that game into overtime.
Ooh. Oh man. So I remember we were down. I remember being in the huddle, like, we're not going to lose this game. And I think they actually believed me. I know that might have been a little delusional to a lot of people at the time. They're probably like, all right, Kendall, like, but at the same time, like those are the games, especially when you play a caliber team like VCU, it's like one of those games where if you are able to make it possible and you can come back, it's going to be one great story. And I think for us, it was like just the belief we had in ourselves. Like I said, Sid coming down, I think they missed a free throw and Sid found me on the side and I hit the 3. And then I told him again right after we had the foul again. I remember having the foul again. And then I came to him, I said, just find me again. Like I'm gonna be in the same spot. And he told me, I got you. And I want to say Troy Daniels or somebody missed the free throw. Or he might have I think he missed the free throw. And then he found me and I got fouled on the 3. So that put us, I want to say it put us down 2 at the time or down 3. And then I want to say, we were down 2, and then we had to foul again. And then I think somebody hit a 1-on-1, and that's when we ran the play to try to find me. Couldn't find me. Ended up finding Darian, and Darian hit the 3. That was the biggest shot. That catapulted us to another level. And like I said, when you need a shot at that time, Darren Brothers was our guy. Like, he was the guy that was like, hey, we need a big shot. We're going to go to Darian, and we know, regardless of the defense, he's going to be able to get a shot off. So,
it's funny. I think about last night's game. There was a moment we were way behind. We had this big comeback. We cut it to 2. And I remember, like, the emotions in me were like, is this going to happen again?
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I'm reflecting back to the Darian Brothers, 3-pointer to put us into overtime. Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but that was certainly a magical moment, taking it to overtime and then obviously winning in overtime. Is that one of your kind of favorite memories as terms of games during U of R?
Yeah, and it's funny because Jay DeMayo, our strength coach, he never lets me forget it. So it's special. Like I said, those are memories that you have with a great group of guys, coaches, forever. Like, you can go back, sit down after 10, 15 years, 20 years, and talk about those times and still remember it, like, detail for detail. So it's something special that I hold dear, and it shows how close we were as a team to be able to do something like that with a deficit like that.
Now, fast forward to your senior season. The team won 21 games, or 21-14. You beat VCU twice, and it's funny. Like, they had 3 pros as well, although one of them was Mo Alley Cox, who ended up being a pro in the NFL.
Yeah.
But you went to the Siegel Center first. They were 14. I think AP ranked 14th that year. So what does it take to win? Like, you're on one of 2 teams that won at the Siegel Center. Like, what does it take to win there? Because obviously that's a tough environment.
That's a great question. I think you can't play their game. You play their game, you probably don't have the best chance at winning. And I think a lot of teams, they're able to push teams to play their game a lot. I think when we were there, when I was there, we had guards that can control the pace, but we also had forwards and bigs that could do everything. I think that's what helped us a lot. And like I said, playing our game, it was like we controlled the pace. We didn't really try to go up and down with them. We probably could have in some form or fashion, but playing their game at the Siegel Center when they had Deontay Weber, like I said, Melvin Johnson, and Quan Lewis, Travion Graham, like those guys, those are pros. Like, all of those are pros. So to play against those guys, you have to be able to play your game. And I think Coach Mooney and the coaching staff did a great job of getting us prepared. I think, like, the preparation for those games, you never really can prepare totally, but you can get an understanding. They actually, during our practice, they put 6 to 7 guys out there to play us. So we had to control the game playing against 6 to 7 guys. So I think that was something interesting that helped us. It was like, okay, if we can play against 6 or 7 guys, we should be able to control the game with 5 guys, regardless of how fast, strong they are. So that was how I would say we might be.
Speaking of Coach Mooney, we had him on a recent episode, and I don't remember if he said this on the episode or after when we were talking to him, but he said Kendall Anthony is one of the toughest kids I've ever coached. He's earned every bit of accolade or congratulation he gets. There's no one that has worked harder or put himself out there more. Tell us about where you got that toughness and that work ethic from.
Oh, it's like, honestly, it's funny because I feel like my mother instilled it in me to be a hard worker. My family, my grandfather, was very influential in basketball for me. But also, like, I grew up in Jackson, Tennessee. It's like there's nothing out there in Jackson but to play sports, basketball, football, and you grow up playing against older people. So you go to the YMCA or you go to these local recreational gyms, and you're not going to play against people your age, or they're not going to you have to earn your respect. And I feel like, for me, when I came in, when I was in high school, all the way growing up, I had to earn people's respect, especially because of my size. So I want to say that's what really molded me. It's kind of like being from there, and just having to earn your respect every day, not just, oh, I had a good day today, I played pretty well and I got picked up. No, like the next day it's the same thing. Like you got to come out there, you're probably going to get fouled. There's no fouls when we play. So that type of environment you grow up in, it kind of molds you for those moments of playing in college basketball when Coach Mooney has that compliment of saying like, hey, he's tough. I feel like it's just something that I was already molded with, and I just brought that to the team in order to help them win.
Hey, one maybe last kind of VCU therapy part. So, and back to that toughness. So, the last game during the regular season against VCU at home, we won in overtime, but this was kind of a little opposite of the other game where we had the lead. They came back, and then probably going to overtime was a disappointment. And so I don't know if you could take me back to that or just tell how do you get yourself and the team like ready to, it's 0-0 when you go into overtime. But if you had the lead and lost it, like how do you get your team to forget that and kind of move on? Because obviously it worked because you won that game, I think, in double overtime.
Yeah, basketball is up and down, like especially when you're playing a team like VCU. It's just you have to be prepared for the up and down. Like I said, some teams you play, you might be like, okay, well, we're down, like this shouldn't have happened. But with VCU, you're never out of it. Like they're never out of the game. So honestly, we expected them to fight back. Like I said, that's a team that fights back, and like you can tell over the years, that's how they mold. That's their way of playing basketball. Like they're always going to find a way to creep back in. So for us, it was just stay calm. Like Coach Mooney always said, like, next play, be ready to be able to attack the next play. And I think I want to say Trey found TJ to go for in the inbound play to go into overtime. And I think those type of plays from guys that were our leaders. Like I said, Trey was a leader. TJ was growing into his own at Richmond. This was before TJ was having triple doubles. So this was TJ. Yeah. So this
Early
was like
TJ.
TJ. Yeah, exactly. So this is TJ who was growing into the great spider that he was going to be. And I think he was ready for that moment. And I think, like I said, when you have a team that's ready for the moment and trust each other, it makes it a little easier in those times. You kind of like expect something good to happen. Like you never really expect like, oh, we're just going to give in. So talking to the guys, they were easy to talk to. Getting them on the same page was easy. And like I said, I think that has a lot to do with everybody being on the same page, and also the coaches preaching to us next play.
Kendall, give us one thing for our listeners about playing under Coach Mooney that the fans wouldn't understand unless they were on the team.
He loved you like a son. Like literally, he loved you like a son. Like he would do anything for you, like outside of basketball. And I think a lot of people think like when you're a coach, you love your players just for what they could do for you, how they perform. If they do well, you're like he literally cares about how your family does. Like he's a family man. I love pushing him for that. He actually, I'm very close to his family. Now his son is in high school. It's crazy because I saw Danny when he was like little. I mean, tiny. So, Coach Mooney is one of those coaches that embodies the idea of family man, but also to a team. Like he invited us for dinner. Like I said, I was far away from Tennessee when I was playing there. So for him to invite me to dinner to make me feel warm, and like Thanksgiving when I couldn't be there with my family, or, Christmas things or New Year's, it was like, wow, you actually care about me as a human being rather than me just, scoring points for you, for your team. And I think that's a thing that people, I don't want to say take for granted, but they might not understand unless they were inside the team.
Yeah, we saw that too when we first interviewed him, but this was before we actually had him on the show last summer. He could be, but we watched practice, and he's tough in practice, man. He's tough. But then, like, you sit down with him afterwards and you start talking about the players, and he waxes poetic about how much the players mean to him. So we felt that when we first talked to him.
So we'll move past VCU, and Kendall, we'd love to learn more about what you're doing now. I know we're talking with you in Brazil, so maybe tell a little bit about kind of your Brazil playing days, and then we can go back to kind of really your whole post U of R career.
Yeah, this is my third year out in Brazil. I played 2 years prior. my second year out and my third year out of college. And now just being able to come back and be in this beautiful country is amazing. Like I'm in my 11th year playing, which is like I feel a little old now. But no, it's something that you can't take for granted. Like I know it's a little cold back home, probably where everybody is, but right now I'm kind of in the. I don't want to brag, but I'm in a place where it's very sunny all the time. It's probably the hottest. So for me to be able to be out here and still do what I love, and continue to be on this journey that God has blessed me with, I'm super grateful. Like we're in the middle of the season, doing pretty well. Like I said, it's just one of those things that you wake up every morning, you look forward to, especially playing here, just to the fact that you're able to be in a place that has so much history with basketball and sports. So I've enjoyed it a lot.
And you mentioned before we started the pod, you have a teammate Spider fans might know.
Yeah, yes. So it's crazy. When I first signed here, I got a call. Well, I got a call from somebody. I'm like, who's this? And he was like, it was Melvin Johnson. I'm like, Melvin Johnson from VCU? And come to find out that we're teammates here. So it's crazy how small the world is. Like, and he's a great player. Like even after college, like you see him in college and you see him scoring and do all this, but like he's a great player, but even better person. So
awesome.
For me, it was like, okay, cool. Like, being able to be here. And like I said, we shared like college moments. And even yesterday, I'm like, wow, y'all got us, we had a brief talk about it today. Actually, we had practice today. And I had to, give them their flowers that they ended up beating us, but I didn't really want to. But for him, I was like, man, that was a game. That was a great game. So it's yeah.
Kendall, for Spider fans who aren't as familiar with the international game in Brazil, tell us about like what a typical travel arrangement looks like. Are you guys flying from city to city to play games? Are you bussing? How does that work?
Yeah, so I'm in Campina Grande, so it's like in the north a little bit. So we fly places. So we just flew to Sao Paulo like literally 3 days ago. So I just flew back from Sao Paulo 3 days ago. So we fly a lot. Like I said, if we go on a road trip, we're flying most of the time. But it's different. A lot of places, a lot of teams are in Sao Paulo, in Rio. So sometimes if you're in those type of places, you don't really have to fly as much. You can kind of drive. It might be a couple hours, or like I said, you might be outside of Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo is like a big state. Like people know it's like one of the biggest states in the world. So to drive around, it might take about 3 to 4 hours. But also like it just depends on where you're at. Like I said, every country is different. Like if you play places, you might have some places that have 11-hour bus rides, but also you have some places that might say, hey, we don't want to drive, we're going to fly. So yeah, it just depends. But here we fly a lot.
Do you have a favorite place? Let's put Brazil aside because you're already there.
Yeah.
Other places you played, which you look back and say like that was the most beautiful part of the world.
I tell everybody this. I say Israel is probably one of my favorite places to play, and it's crazy because I saw TJ playing out there a lot. Like I said, TJ was out there. He played in Israel when I was playing out there, and he's actually in Israel right now. But during my time when I was in Israel, he was playing there. So I would say Israel is one of the places that I was like close to Tel Aviv. I was like probably 15 minutes away. I was in Herzliya, so that's one place I loved playing. And then I love to play in France as well. France is like, as far as like competition, basketball competition, it's like top 2. So
you were in Turkey at one point in time, and you earned the nickname the Turkish Allen Iverson, to bring it back to AI for a second.
My first year out.
We'll call him the original AI, right? Before modern AI.
I ain't gonna take that much credit.
So tell us a little bit about that. What happened in Turkey that kind of earned you that nickname?
Man, that was my rookie year. It's so crazy. I feel like that's so long ago. Amazing city. I was in Izmir. We had, coming in, it's like there was a guy named in another club that played. His name was Bobby Dixon. He was like the guy over there. He was like my height, but he had made a name for himself for so long over there. And one day I was actually walking to the mall to go get something to eat. And somebody called me Bobby Dixon. I'm like, but at the end of the day, that's a compliment because he's the guy that established himself as a great player in Turkey. But during my first couple games, I had a lot of games where I scored a lot of points. Like I had won MVP in one of the tournaments to start the season, and then the first games I had a lot of good games. I probably had a couple 20-point games, and then so a lot of the fans at my club, they started calling me the Turkish Allen Iverson, and that was like funny to me at the time because I wasn't expecting that. It was something that like they were like, they started chanting a little bit at the game, and I was like, I was like flattered by it, but I was like, wow, like that's what they think of me right here. And this is my first year, so I'm like, does this happen everywhere? But it was one of those things that you're kind of like, wow, this is amazing. That the fact that people actually look at you and admire your skill set and can compare you to someone of that caliber. Might call you their Turkish Allen Iverson, but to even have me in the same put his name in the same sentence as mine is a compliment.
Well, it had to feel good after you modeled your career after his playing style too, right?
Yeah,
Because
that's
shows
my
you
goat.
did it right.
Yeah, not for sure.
I'm curious. You've played in lots of different places across the globe. What is the process like of kind of finding the next place? Have you had an agent all along that's kind of helping you kind of guide that path?
Yeah. So I have an agent, great guy. We got a great relationship. That's my guy. Like I said, he puts me in position to play and continue my journey playing basketball. So every year is different. I never know actually. It's actually crazy. Like I wake up one day and I could have an offer in Turkey. I could have an offer in Italy. You never know. So it's one of those things where you just focus on what you can control, and your agent kind of directs you in the right place and tells you what he thinks about this offer coming in, this offer coming in. And we've done a good job over the years. Like I said, I was able to get with him halfway through my career. So he's been with me this last half, and it's been nothing but great. Like I played in 7 different countries. I've toured the world. Like I've been able to see things that I never thought basketball would be able to take me to. So I'm super blessed. And like I said, for him to be able to put me in position to be able to continue my career, I have all the praise and thanks for him to be able to continue to help me on my journey.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you could give a piece of advice to today's Richmond guards about surviving a long season, what would you tell them?
Just control what you can control, and the thing about stay consistent and in your positive thinking. Like I said, there's going to be times in basketball where it doesn't go your way, but if you continue to put in the work and continue to stay focused and consistent in everything you do, I promise it'll turn around. Like, and also I think when you're a guard at Richmond, there's a lot on your hands. Like Coach Mooney puts a lot of trust in you. So when with that comes with a lot of responsibility, which comes with a lot of hard work and dedication to the program. And I think I've heard great things about the guards as I've gone over the years, from Jacob Gilliard to even the guards now. It's like everybody puts in the work, and I think don't try to win the race in one day. Like I said, just continue to trust the process that he has. Continue to focus on what you need to focus on, and I think things will turn around in a positive way, because that's what happened with me.
That's awesome.
Hey, maybe just a way to kind of wrap this up. Like, you're a legend in my mind. Like, how do you want fans to remember you? So, obviously you got all the stats, but put the stats aside. Kind of when fans look back to kind of Kendall Anthony's career, like what do you want that memory to be like?
Honestly, I just want people to remember me as one of those players that played for the name in the front and not the back. Like that was one thing that I really embodied. Like I love Richmond. Like I'm telling you, like I thank God every day that I was able to play with. It was the best, one of the best. It was actually, I would say, other than marrying my wife, it was the best decision for my life. So, like I had to have that opportunity to wear the colors and represent the university. And still to this day, people remember your name. Is like special to me, and it will be something that I'll always cherish. Even after my career, when I'm said and done, and I'm retired, I'll be able to come back to Richmond, and I still have, like I said, I'm able to have friends and people I'm very close to that came from Richmond. So if they can remember one thing, I would say Kendall was a player that never shied away from a challenge, did everything he could to make sure he was prepared in order to help his team win and play for the name on the front, not the back.
And I'll just say, as a fan, I mean, from lightly recruited to 6 all-time in Richmond points to being able to hit the big shot to win the big game. And then we just lightly touched on your post-Richmond career, but I mean, there's some serious accolades in it, folks. Google Kendall Anthony and what happened after Richmond, and you'll see he's got nicknames all over the globe about how good he was in Brazil. And maybe there was an Icelandic piece to the journey too. I mean, there was all kinds of great stuff. So appreciate you being a Richmond Spider. Appreciate you coming on the podcast with Tom and I. And good luck the rest of the way, man. And whenever you're in Richmond, look us up. We'd love to just say hi to you and thank you in person.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And I look forward to being able to see this podcast in the future too.
Yeah. Thanks, Kendall.
Thanks, Kendall.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Well, that was just a great interview with Kendall Anthony, both a legend for what he did at Richmond on the court, but also what he's done after Richmond playing internationally. I mean, that guy's had an incredibly impressive career.
Yeah, I will say, obviously, it's kind of the first time I've ever got to talk to Kendall Anthony, and I loved him as a player. I like him even more now after that conversation. What a great guy. Would love to meet him in person at some point and just kind of talk about his days as a Spider.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. We do have a few games this week. So just to remind you fans, the women kind of continue this tough road trip Monday at George Mason at 4 p.m. So if you're home from work for the holiday, don't forget that game. It's at 4 p.m. And then on Wednesday, they're at George Washington. I assume they're staying up there between games. And the men are at Davidson on Wednesday. So hopefully Coach can get them as ready as possible. And let's not start another losing streak. Let's
a chance to also maybe get a little payback for the Davidson debacle in the Robins Center. That would be good.
Yeah, let's hope our teams go 2-0 at Davidson.
Yes.
With the women having their big win. So we'll be back later this week to talk about those games.
Make sure you give us a like, subscribe, share with a friend, and if you guys have a Spider story you want us to cover, don't hesitate to hit us up on the socials, send us an email, that kind of thing.
Well, until next time, this is Tom.
And this is Porter.
And this is Spiders Sounding Off.
See ya.